Hello, Dell client community, and welcome to today's program. Today we are in Provo, Utah, on the campus of Brigham Young University. And with me I have Danny Yo. Danny, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Danny, we are sitting in this awesome lab here on the campus at BYU. Tell us a little bit about BYU and specifically the college that you work for.
Sure, absolutely. BYU is a private institution. We have two sister institutions, one in Hawaii and one in Idaho. And we also have a business college up in Salt Lake City, downtown Salt Lake City. I am the IT director for the College of Life Sciences, one of maybe 11 to 12 other colleges and schools.
Nice, and that's a pretty big college. How many desktops and peripherals is you and your team managing?
So we have about 1,500 endpoints, mix of desktop, laptops, and other servers and whatnot. Well, actually servers are not counted in the mix, but just your endpoint tablets and whatnot. Nice.
So tell us about, I know that in the university there's a lot of different personas, a lot of different computing needs. How do you handle that as far as giving the professors and the staff what they need to do their job? And do they all want the same thing and it makes it super easy when it comes time to ordering?
No, absolutely not. They all want different things. We try to meet their needs as best as we can. We talk to them, understand what they're trying to do with their computing needs, and then we find a solution that best suits them. We've standardized the kind of desktop and laptops to a few models that work best for our people, for the entire university, but particularly for my faculty and staff in life sciences.
So what are some of those different models that you're using and that are offered to the life science team to purchase?
Sure. So we buy basically the business or enterprise class computers, laptop and desktop. So this would be the Latitude for the laptops and the Optiplex for the desktop. We also buy some workstations. They are the precision models, depending again on use cases, specific use cases. So for example, with the Latitudes, we buy the 7000 series.
Okay.
Today we buy the Latitude 7490. On the desktop front, we buy the Dell Micro. This is a smaller box essentially, but just as much computing power packed into it. We also buy the small form factor. We use that for mostly our computer labs, teaching labs. And we are starting to look at the Dell Ultra as an option where we could slide it behind a monitor built for the Ultra. And lastly, we do buy the all-in-ones as well, which is a computer built right into the monitor, and that is for a specific use case to save tabletop or desktop space for our teaching and even research.
So those all-in-ones, they're in a lab? Is that the environment that they're in?
Yes, they are. We have a lab with about 25 of those. It is a specialized lab for our neuroscience program. They needed the space for other peripherals, for example, a microscope that connects to the desktop via USB. And so during the class, a teacher would teach the student to use wet sample. They would use the microscope and scan the picture, I suppose, and send that to the computer. And so the all-in-one is great because it gives us all the room. We purchased the system with a wireless keyboard and mouse so that they can put that aside and gain back all of that desk space.
Oh, and they're using that for microscopes and for the samples that they're getting ready to view, and imagine petri dishes and all that kind of stuff all over the place. Well, that's great. It's able to free up that space for them and allows people to learn how they need to learn.
And that is a special use case classroom. Whereas a lab like this that you see in my background, this is general purpose, and we teach all kinds of classes in this classroom. A lot of these computers have software installed on them. Our faculty use those software to teach our students what they need in their specialized fields.
So you mentioned the Ultras, the Optiplex Ultras is very interesting, how small they are, how they can kind of fit in the monitor stand. What's making you start to look in that direction over just the regular all-in-ones that you're using now?
saving space is probably a consideration. As you can see in the background on these computers, on these desktops, there's not very much space for a student to put their textbook, a notebook perhaps, or any other things that they might use for the class. And so if we got an Ultra and just a monitor, the only space is just that monitor, because the Ultra would be mounted on the back of the monitor.
And do you think there's a benefit in having the Ultra separate from the monitor, like the all-in-ones? I mean, it's all tied in together.
Good point. Yes. So with the all-in-one, because the computer is built into the monitor, if a monitor fails, for example, or start exhibiting issues, fuzzy lines and whatnot, we have to take down the entire system, right? We have to send that for repair, or actually we have on-site repair, but that system is unavailable. Mm-hmm. Whereas with an Ultra, if we have a problem with the monitor, we just find another monitor. We would buy a few extras just for the purpose of swapping them out. The Ultra is the computer, so it's still running. And switching out the monitor means we don't have a system down. And
right.
So we have a full complement of systems for our class.
Yeah, so it's kind of the benefit of both. It's the all-in-one, but yet it's still two different devices that can be easily swapped in and out.
Exactly.
So you mentioned, these all-in-ones are in harsh environments. You've got microscopes, you've got many people using it. So every now and again, something happens and it needs to be repaired. Talk a little bit about how you manage all these devices from a repair perspective, because again, a lot of people are using them. They're probably used 5-10 hours a day. So how do you handle the repair?
So that's one of the main benefit with going with Dell that impacted our decision to buy exclusively Dell, which is Dell offers a program that allows us to be Dell certified as a Dell technician. It used to be called the Warranty Parts Direct, and now it's Dell Tech Direct program. That allows my team to actually sign up for the program, go through the training, learn the content, and essentially at the end, take kind of a test to be Dell certified. What that buys for us is when we have a problem with a computer, we can actually run diagnostics, which is available to us, and then we can log into our Dell Tech Direct portal and order parts. Now the parts will then be shipped to us next day because we have next day business support. Depending on what time of the day, we may get the part the very next day or the day after. And so that's reasonable turnaround time. The other option that's offered to us is we can actually request for a technician to be dispatched with the part, and that person can come on site and do the repairs or replacement, whatever it takes. That's a lot of options that's available to us and makes it really flexible for us to do our work.
So why would you choose to have one of your team take the time to repair something versus just calling Dell and have them come in to make the repair?
Fair question. So we give our student techs the opportunity to learn, and some of them are familiar with building a computer, for example, and if they have the opportunity to touch the system, deal with repairs, learn the diagnostic process, that helps them with whatever they need to do here, but probably in the future with their job somewhere else, for example. A lot of my students are either IT or computer science in those programs, and this is useful for them. Now, of late, I've told them, rather than taking the time to tinker around in the system, let's just get a tech dispatched. And so I leave that option to them. If they want to tinker around with it themselves, they can. If they want to have a dispatch technician do the repair, they can as well.
Oh, that's nice. So some of your team are students here, and they are working for the university, but this gives them another opportunity to continue their education on the job.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that we do as full-timers. We mentor our students. We help them see paths that they can actually follow and pursue. And some of our students serve on our engineering team. They start with our service desk, which is really help desk, and ends up in our either engineering or web development as well.
Nice. Yep, I remember my days starting out on the help desk. I think a lot of folks can relate to that.
I started there too.
Yeah,
we
we
all
all
have
did.
to have a humble start, right?
That's right. The help desk has definitely trained a lot of us. So what are the some of the other clients that you're using? When you were giving me a tour of this great facility, and you were talking about the detachables, and that was interesting how that's starting to, it seems to be getting more and more of those deployed out in your environment. Talk to me a little bit about that use case.
Absolutely. So we have faculty who like to move around when they teach. They can't just, you see the podium behind me, they don't like to stand just behind the podium. They like to, pace about. And so a detachable is suited for their style of teaching, where they can walk around, have a slate-like computer to refer to or annotate and project that onto the screen. Some of our staff employees have gone with a detachable just because it's easy for them to take notes in meetings, where they could use Microsoft OneNote and a stylus and take notes and handwriting, as well as draw diagrams so that they understand what they're talking about during the meeting. So that's where the detachable comes in for that special use case.
And I would imagine being able to do those drawings on a computer kind of helps in that blended learning scenario. You mentioned you have campuses all over the place, and we're in a scenario where some people want to learn from home, some people want to learn here, and doing that digitally is able to then get broadcast to wherever
Absolutely.
the student is.
Yes. It gives them options, our faculty options, where they can do their teaching more effectively. And the style would be suited for however the students are learning.
So Danny, even in the life sciences department here, which is a big department, but there's so many different personas, and it seems like Dell is able to match up whatever needs are out there. You're able to do that with the Dell solution.
Absolutely. So life sciences is actually a college with 7 departments and 1 museum. So we're actually pretty huge, and we have a little over 5,000 students in our undergraduate enrollment majors, making us one of the larger college on campus. And these different disciplines require different kind of compute options. For example, I have a faculty in used to be the physiology and developmental biology program. They've gone through a name change recently, and they're cell biology. Part of the program is anatomy. And so he's bought a Dell Precision workstation with 2 CPUs, 128 gigs of RAM, a terabyte SSD boot hard drive, and a 2 terabyte spinning hard drive for storage of data. And he uses that to analyze the intersection of a brain, for example. So he's got slices of the brain with, I should mention also, it included a really high-end GPU to be able to render all the images and then analyze those as part of his research. That's just one use case. We have other use cases where we have people doing genomic research or data sequencing, and or analyzing samples that are collected out in the field with our research instrumentation group. So we do all kinds of research, and so Dell is able to provide compute that lends to their research.
So that precision box that you were telling me about, that's a lot of compute in there with multiple processors, GPU units, a lot of RAM in there.
We paid a lot for that one system, but it is well worth its money.
And was that something that you had to go to Dell Special and say, hey, this is what we're looking for? Or how did that kind of configuration, what did it take to get that specific of a configuration?
So we have a standard Dell Precision offering as part of what we call our BYU Big Buy. So we've identified certain platform and standards that is applicable to everyone at the university. But aside from that, or on top of that, Dell offers the opportunity for us to go in and special configure other systems, and this was one of those where we needed more compute power, more of everything, I should say that, for this one faculty. And so we were able to go into our Dell Premier website and configure the system and order it right away. And On the very same day, within a couple of hours, I got a confirmation. So Dell has made that really easy to acquire whatever we need for our faculty and staff. I mentioned earlier about the Dell Tech program. Those two factors alone has made ordering and repairing or replacing very easy for my group.
So even on a very specific use case where you might be buying only one or two, you were able to just log in and tell Dell what you wanted, and essentially, it's an off-the-shelf precision that's customized for what you want, but it wasn't like there was a special request there. You were able to easily do that through the website.
Yes, very easily, and the nice thing about Dell is they do listen to me when I tell them what I need, and they try their very best to deliver, which they do frequently. I know our Dell executive. In fact, I play pickleball, which is one of the faster growing sports here in Utah, on a weekly basis. His inside sales support person has been out on campus, and she has been great to work with. So case in point, I have retirees who come up to me and ask me if I can help them purchase a computer through our Dell program. And I tell them, unfortunately, the big buy is reserved for the university because we are a private institution, nonprofit. We have to protect our tax exempt status. So I cannot buy those systems, but Dell would work with me to order whatever they need for a consumer system, for example. They would even sell them the business class machine, but then they would pay tax separately. So my inside salesperson would actually work with me to configure that system and present a quote that I can show my faculty if it is all good and the price is right. I have helped several of them purchase a system that they could enjoy after retirement.
That's great. So you mentioned, that Dell listens and the feedback that you're able to give to them. Do you have an example of where maybe there was a product that just wasn't necessarily fitting the bill and you gave some feedback and that resulted in some changes in future products?
Absolutely. So we buy Dell docks along with the laptops that we purchase. So formerly, some of the older models with the Dell dock were problematic. We had problems where a laptop through the desktop and a dual display to two monitors would sometimes not work. One of the monitors would either cease to work or have issues displaying correctly. With that situation, we got frustrated. We told Dell about it, and they were looking to find what the problem was and to fix it, but it took enough time that we started buying aftermarket docks, which cost more. So recently, and by recently within the last couple years, Dell finally fixed that problem, and we're back to buying Dell docks again.
Yeah, and that's what you want from a partnership. No one out there is perfect, and so when there is an issue, the ability to have the feedback channel to talk to Dell or whatever OEM is great, and then for that OEM, in this case Dell, to do something with that and then make a better product, that just helps everybody.
Absolutely, and the turnaround time is more than reasonable, is commendable. I really appreciate my Dell executive for taking the time to listen and understanding the problem, communicating that to his insight team, and the insight team working with each other to find a solution and deliver the solution that would best fit our needs.
Well, Danny, this has been great, and I appreciate you being part of the Dell client community. Anything you would like to tell the Dell client community peers out there that are listening to this?
You bet. I would encourage everyone who have a Dell rep in your area to reach out to them, have them come visit, maybe even take you out to lunch, right? But let them know your needs and your special use cases. Share with them how your users would use their products. They might suggest better products that would be better fit for your users. Certainly, I have experienced that with my Dell executive. They have listened very well. They've partnered with me to deliver solutions that work well with my faculty. So again, as you reach out to them, then they know that you're interested to hear from them, that they're not intruding on your time during your workday. They have a lot of clients, I'm pretty sure, that they try to reach out to. But when you invite them to come visit with you and they listen to what you need and then look to providing those solutions, they will make your life better, your work life better.
That's fantastic. Well, obviously the partnership between BYU Life Sciences and Dell Technologies is a good partnership. Just kind of summarize what that means for you and the college here to have Dell as a partner.
Sure. So I've worked with Dell for more than 20 years now, and I have had excellent experience with them. I've had some hiccups here and there. I mean, any company that you work with, you'll have that. Some companies I have worked with in the server area, I've had more hiccups than not. I've gone back to Dell. Today I have Dell VxRail that we use in our environment, and it serves our purposes, and Dell support has been great. Obviously, with endpoints, with Dell laptops and desktop, we've had excellent experience with them. We love the product, we love the support, we love the options and the ability to call in for parts. My users, they're happy. They don't complain to me as much. The only time they complain is when the network's down. That's not Dell's fault, right?
Very good, very good. Well, Danny, thanks so much for taking some time out and sharing your story. It's fantastic to hear all the nice things that are going on here and all the stuff that's happening in life sciences. It's nice to know that a lot of this research is really going to go help the greater good, and it's nice that you're a part of it and your team is as well.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed today's conversation with Danny and learning about what Dell partnership is with BYU, and we thank you for watching.
Your tech, your voice.